At a time when global power equations are continuously shifting with unprecedented speed, India is leveraging geoeconomic disruptions into a strategic advantage. Fueled by resilient growth and a robust demographic dividend, India is actively shaping the narrative of global economic engagement. These points were brought in focus in the recently concluded 11th edition of the Times Network India Economic Conclave held in New Delhi. This year, the theme of IDFC First Bank Presents India Economic Conclave was Navigating Geoeconomics, in line with the current flux in the world order. In this episode, watch Sai Sundar Krishna, Chief Innovation Officer, Healthcare and AI, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, elaborating on how AI is powering India's next digital leap. Also watch students from Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham explaining how India's youth are powering the tectonic shift in this era of technology.
Sai, we're talking about something really exciting, AI. Everybody's talking about it. How should we be approaching AI for Bharat, for India? We're a huge country, almost 1.3, 1.4 billion people. We can't just copy-paste what the West is doing. India is very famous for its jugaad, frugal, which is why we're talking also about frugal AI. Your thoughts, what are your insights? How can we crack the code?
I'll start with a tagline here. So technology scales capacity, but the artificial intelligence is going to do that actionable decision intelligence, which is going to create value, do the price discovery, and do the market growth. Let's get this fundamental thing. Now it remains, what is artificial intelligence? First of all, we'll cover that question. So 4 pillars, MCRA, I would call it. Deep mathematics for problem solving. We can't shun away from it. Computing, how do you leverage the compute? Reasoning, before, during planning, during processing, and during feedback. And autonomy. So if all these things work in tandem, math, reasoning, compute, and autonomy, then you call it AI. So this particular toolkit is what is creating value. So whether whatever kind of innovation you do, whatever sector you are in, these 4 pillars are creating value. Now think about a very simple example. A farmer creates a produce for, let's say, 100 rupees. He sells it for 100 rupees and he spends 70 rupees on it. 30 rupees he creates value for himself. He gives it to a manufacturer, makes probably a wheat flour or something, and then he creates 50 rupees value for himself, and the next baker or food processor creates 70 rupees. So totally they have 150 rupees of value. Government puts its own tax, so government is also a value creator, it creates value for itself, and then minus subsidies. So this whole thing is the GDP. So think about the value creation for the farmer. Enter AI now. This is where the scene changes. Instead of just doing whatever he does in the total factor productivity, just with his available capital, labor, and material, now he uses satellite technology to look at the soil health. He drives drones, and it just puts computer vision and minimizes his risk of getting caught up in a blight or some kind of a disease. He insures himself. He looks at the soil microbiome. He looks at the interaction between soil microbiome and the plant genomics. So all these things existed, but then you created value by combining all these things together for one decisioning actionable intelligence, right? So this is what AI creates. And what it has created is 3 things, if you really carefully think about it. It has created, first of all, it has minimized the risk. We call it variance reduction. It has created what you call information asymmetry processing, collate information from different data sources. And it has also done optimal allocation. If he puts all those sensors, look at leaf stress, look at the root stress, hypoxia, put a smart precision agriculture. Now he's created a lot of value by combining all, the yield just shoots up.
Right.
AI did this, right? And I'll give a couple more examples. One on manufacturing, predictive maintenance, your tool where you're bearing failures, predictive maintenance. Your job, the defects in your job. So that's different kinds of job. Look at the whole manufacturing sector. So you again run a computer vision, and you convert that into signal processing, take into Fourier domain, do all the spectral analysis, and AI gives a toolkit, or here is where the problems are brooming, early warning signals. Look at the process of manufacturing. You are creating value when you say that, here I've applied reinforcement learning. I've studied the process. I can imitate this process for you. I can optimize this process for you. AI created value in all the places in one shop floor. Just multiply it for multiple industries and multiple shop floor. So for Bharat, the main thing is you need to make innovations on the core sectors: agriculture, farming, healthcare, fisheries. Yeah. That's going to be the huge game changer. I haven't even spoken about healthcare, which is...
So we'll get to healthcare next, but I get your point, because it's got to be these use cases and specific, tailor-made to the Indian situation. And speaking for healthcare, more specifically on medicine, I know Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham has schools. I mean, you have a school for AI also, and you have school for the in the medical space also, in the medicine.
Hospitals, 2 super specialty hospitals.
Right.
Yeah.
How are you seeing, teaching these students so that from the bench to the bedside of the hospital, how can AI be integrated there?
I think that we have arrived at a watershed moment for healthcare AI. And the reason why I'm talking about this as a watershed moment is, again, the same tagline: technology scales capacity. What we are witnessing right now is a technological surge in something called sequencing technologies, in spatial multiomics. So now you can look at subcellular level biomarkers. You can look at what kind of O-link protein, N-link protein are in my endoplasmic reticulum. I can get into the nucleus. Inside nucleolus, I can see all those markers which are spread around. If they're spread around, they mean one thing for cancer. If they're aggregated, they mean another thing for therapeutics and diagnostics. So you can go to that level. Now, what this really brings out is the total addressable market, if you think about it, is 52 sextillion, because 140 crore Indian people and 37 trillion cells in a guy, and you're thinking about 52 sextillion. That's kind of total addressable market. And now if we actually position this AI properly, we are talking about creating actionable intelligence, which is going to just skyrocket for the kind of talent we have got. So this is going to be extremely interesting moment, because now think about these two things. Your biomarkers are not going to be just a gene or a molecule. They no longer need to be. They can be a state transition of a bunch of these multiomic things that you observed, you sequenced, right? And you can also think about this like the disease is not just one state, but it's a dynamical attractor. I mean, all of us would have gone through our blood reports. You would have seen HbA1c or HSCRP, C-reactive protein. You are in an infection state. Now, you don't know whether you're going towards cure, which is homeostasis, or whether you're going towards an inflammation-based collapse. You really don't know. So how do you know? You think continuity, right? So that the disease is attracting on one side, health is attracting on the other. So with all your livers, now you can do precision medicine. Now you can do, and think about the scale again. You thought continuity now, think about the scale. You got glycosylation. Again, HbA1c gives a systemic glycation, but there's something called AGE, which is going to be very, very involved. And there are a bunch of other jargons I can put, like oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction. I mean, for all these things, AI creates value very, very deep. It's like when the microscope was found, we actually created so many use cases and the whole thing revolutionized. These omics technologies are creating exactly the same moment. So this is going to be useful in precision medicine. I can ask, what is my inflammation load currently, right now? I can ask, what is my biological aging velocity? And I can all, from a population health dynamics, in India, what is the disease state? I can do a digital omic phenotype for every Indian citizen and give it to the Indian government, and then we are going to rule the roost in the world, right? And finally, we can also do clinical trials. You don't need to wait for long instances for clinical trials. You can do accelerated clinical trials, truncated clinical trials, where these biomarkers give you indications that, yes, you have achieved your velocity. And this is kind of a watershed moment.
India has maybe about more than 100 plus unicorns now, and some are in fintech and different sectors. And I also know that you're on the board of working on the smart city, Amravati. What do you think can be done more to bridge this India to Bharat bridge?
I honestly think we should start from the schools. We have to introduce AI very strongly in the schools, and not just AI as a awareness maybe from third grade, fourth grade, kind of use case level understanding, sixth or seventh grade, but from ninth grade across India, we should make people visualize what is a vector space? How do you do applied linear algebra? I mean, you do the proper mathematical foundation, make them into computational thinkers. The reason for studying is not just writing an exam, but the reason for studying is to model a problem. The reason for studying is to model a problem. Just use simple spreadsheets. Make that same people model that problem in spreadsheets. That's a fundamental thing we really need. If we do that one thing, that is going to really create a lot of dividends for India.
Fantastic, Sai. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and I'm hoping we can continue this conversation next year. I will remember next year that I met you and interviewed you this year, and I'm hoping by then maybe there'll be a ministry of AI. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Round of applause for Sai. Vaibhav, I want to start with you, because we, as a business news channel, as thought leaders who've been here also, who are here, we love the word GDP. We had the Honorable Finance Minister yesterday also talking about GDP and the importance of it, what are the challenges, opportunities to boost that. From your point of view, I'd like to know what are some factors that you think should be included in that economical definition of GDP. How are you looking at this growth? What, according to you, should be included when we talk about the need for growth?
GDP does plays a significant role in that. But I won't say it's the only parameter which determines, how successful a country is or its people is. Some key factors which we Gen Z, we youth, we see is the consumption or sustainable consumption. We are living, we are breathing air. Are we breathing right air? Second thing is access to quality food products. Right now we are standing here, we have a lot of FMCG brands coming up, and every day we are hearing news that FMCG brand is having adulteration and this one and that one. I'll give you a small example. I come from a village in Jharkhand. In my village, if you have to make 1 kg of ghee, you need at least 20 liters of milk. Now, considering the standard rates, in Mother Dairy we have 60 rupees per liter of milk. So let's say 20, so it will be around 1200. So if you prepare ghee out of it, at least it will be 1200. You are from a business background. Now if you have to sell that ghee by adding all the costs and labor and everything, marketing, blah, blah, blah.
And this is 1200 is just the milk.
Yes.
Plus the factory, the processing, perfect. Exactly, the bottle, the marketing cost.
Correct. It will be around 1400 to 1500.
Minimum.
Now, we are getting ghee in the market for 400 and 500 rupees. Okay, I understand. I'm from a technical background that there can be cost cutting and saving and mass production, blah, blah, blah. Can it go to 1/3 or 1/4 of the price? Is it real? Another factor we being is, right now we hear all of our giants from the tech industry calling out for 70 hours, 90 hours a week. Oh my God, that's really commendable. How can we expect as Gen Z that we want to contribute to India's growth if we have this kind of parameters? I could only recall a famous कव्वाली कि नाज़ो अंदाज से कहते हैं कि जीना होगा, जहर भी देते हैं तो कहते हैं पीना होगा, पीते हैं तो कहते हैं कि मरता क्यों नहीं, मरते हैं तो कहते हैं जीना होगा. So it's exactly a toxic culture which is actually promoting, it's not contributing to the growth any factor anywhere.
Right. So, Vishnu, I want to come to you next. What do you think can help unlock more of the youth's potential? What more can be done to match the demand from the workforce in this time without, like what Vaibhav said, without putting it into a toxic work culture or putting the unrealistic pressure of working so hard?
I feel like if they're given the platform and the opportunities to express their talent, I think that is more than enough to tap into their potential. Like there is a quote by Swami Vivekananda. He says, "You have infinite potential in you. You can do anything and everything." So, what happens right now is there are two main issues that I can think of. The first is that, there is this communication gap that is happening. So, imagine you're applying for a job in an online portal. So, what happens is you are given a status. You are either accepted for further stages or you're rejected. So, when you're rejected, what happens is, you get this email that, unfortunately, your application has been blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Standard copy paste.
Yeah, exactly. So what happens is there is a missing feedback. Like, what about my application is missing? What is it that you find that is not applying to this job? So that concern needs to be matched. Now, there might be a question that pops like, there are lakhs and crores of applicants. How am I going to do it? That is where AI comes into play. So if you look at this, AI can, like Sai sir was talking about, it can harness that potential of doing something humongous that you never imagined into one small bite-sized application, and you can just tune it in such a way that the hiring manager or the person responsible can put in the points like this is missing, and the candidate can know that okay, the next time I apply, I would be able to understand that this is missing. So that sort of basic communication needs to be addressed. So that is what I feel.
You spoke about AI. Shreya, I'll come to you also on AI because it can also be, in a way, a double-edged sword. What is your opinion? Because I've heard leaders, experts talk about there, but your view from where you are sitting, is this a bubble? Do you fear AI, or are you seeing that, yes, maybe AI can help you and your generation?
If in a daily basis, I use AI in different medium. But then, as a student, I can very confidently say that AI is slowly crippling our generation. Now, this is knowingly and unknowingly done, majorly because when you have an easier option at hand, it is a very natural human tendency to go grab it.
Absolutely.
So when you have an AI to write your email, to draft a message, a WhatsApp message to your friend, which you could have, usually before AI, maybe in 2015, when WhatsApp was just booming, you could easily write a message to your friend without thinking twice. Now you need Meta AI to refine the message, and you're again unsure of it, and then you again put it in ChatGPT, you refine it. So that is the level of dependency that AI has brought, especially in our generation. But then, are we overspending on AI? That is something I disagree on, because in our country, especially in India, AI has been a human multiplier. Now, how you may ask is, one stellar example that I could give is Operation Sindoor. How the use of AI in defense, EACS, electronic analysis, electronic collation and analysis system, Trinetra, it almost had a 94% accuracy on neutralizing the targets. So despite having a manpower for the hard power in our country, these are the technologies that, on a global scale, it empowers our country in a time of crisis. We need more AI creators than AI users.
Quick question, last one. We're always talking about startups and having the elevator pitches. So three of you, will start with Vaibhav and come down the line. Your elevator pitch to the Prime Minister for one big idea for Viksit Bharat.
प्रिय प्रधानमंत्री जी, मेरा नाम देव वैभव है और मैं झारखंड के एक छोटे से गांव से आता हूं। मेरा मानना है कि इस दुनिया की जो सबसे बड़ा हथियार है वो टेक्नोलॉजी है, लेकिन मैं चाहता हूं कि टेक्नोलॉजी कुछ लोगों के हाथ में ना रहे, बल्कि समाज के सभी वर्गों के हाथ में रहे। चाहे वो एक बड़ा इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट हो जो अपनी पूरे प्रोसेस को ऑप्टिमाइज करना चाहता हो, या चाहे वो कोई छात्र हो जो मेघालय, आसाम के किसी रिमोट लोकेशन से अपनी पढ़ाई करके कुछ ऐप डेवलप करना चाहता है, कोई इनोवेशन करना चाहता हो, या मेरे गांव खमारबंदी में बैठे हुए मेरे कोई काका हो जो कोई नई फसल लगाना चाहते हो और उस एआई से पूछते हो खोठा में कि है गो कहे ना किसे लगाइबो, किसे कमाइबो और किसे बेचबो। थैंक यू।
Shreya.
Well, I'll try to continue with Vaibhav. I come from a defense background. What we need in India right now are our own applications. So there are also speculation that there are 1 million of computer science graduates on what people call a crowd or a bheed. in this sector, and still people are unemployed. But in my opinion, there is so much yet to come in India. Our own apps, our own Google Maps, our version of Google Maps, our apps. So we have to be self-sustained, and we have to be self-sufficient. We have to be an Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Wow. Vishnu, your last take, your elevator pitch.
So I just want to start by saying that my parents are doctors, and I've seen that my parents telling me that, sometimes the allopathic medicine is not what is needed. Even an Ayurvedic medicine will do for this medicine, but they scare the patients, and they create a lot of worry. So I have a vision that in the future patients would be able to come up, have a holistic, diagnosis. Like that is what the minister also was talking about. So I want that holistic diagnosis to be there. So that influence has to be starting from the education that doctors get. Sometimes you, instead of focusing on just one stream, focus on the best stream that is there for the patients. And already India has been like the go-to center for healthcare from all over the world. So with this approach, I'm sure it can be the #1 country.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Vishnu, Shreya, Vaibhav. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for an unfiltered conversation from these three students from Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. Thank you so much.